Alright, it is now the 16th of November, which means that anything Inktober related has long passed, so it's about time I do it. So, I know this is a shit camera, but that is because I'm using my phone to record an up view, so hello. And I've got my sketchbook right over here, so let's get right into it. I've got my sketchbook here, let's open it and let's go to Inktober. Let's have it right here. So as you can see, this is quite different from how I would normally do Inktober, which is drawing a drawing every day like you're supposed to. So for this one, since I didn't have as much time as with the other ones, I decided to draw a panel and a comic each day and link them all together to at least give me some kind of challenge, to make it more challenging than just drawing normally. So that said, I'm quite happy with how this result turned out, but it was quite difficult. So this is a manga, so you're supposed to read it from right to left, but since I didn't know where I would end up, I started on the left page. So this is day number 1, which was Crystal. At this stage I have no clue what I'm gonna do. I don't know what the story is gonna be, I don't know what the rest of the words are, I didn't look at anything, I just drew something that came to mind when I drew Crystal. So I drew Crystal on a pedestal. Next day was Soothe. We got this lovely fellow, which is actually not one of my creations. If you go a little bit back in my sketchbook, there is a page, let me find it really quickly, this one right here, where someone else drew in my sketchbook. And since he had a Soothe, I just picked it. I drew this guy in my style, which ended up looking like this. And this is our main character for our story today. And again, I still don't know what that story is, but it has to do something with Crystal. Next day was Vessel, so I just drew something random to acquire the crystal. Then we got Knot, where some kind of rope is involved. And this was the point where I decided to add a villain into the comic, although I didn't know what that villain would be, since that will be decided by the prompt of the next day, which was Raven. And then I thought that was a stupid prompt to pick your villain about, so I just drew a raven and a random villain in a cloak, and again just waited for the perfect moment to reveal who the villain would be. Also, there's some quite cool background details. I don't know which camera I'm supposed to look at. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, so I'm gonna be looking around quite a lot. So we got the background, which is a nice cool little trick I found from looking at my manga, and I just stole it because that's what good artists do. Anyway, let's move on to the next day, which we finally get to revealing our villain, which is a spirit, which is also the word of the day. And then he just explains he's a guardian spirit of the crystal and you need to defeat him to get the crystal. And we go to the second page, where the word was fan, and this was probably the first time I really struggled coming up with a prompt, with a drawing for the prompt. So I decided to make it a game eventually and draw some fans looking over it. And these fans don't come back in the whole story. But at least it fits with the word for today. Then watch was after that, so I just drew a watch and say, hey, I've got to be home in a couple of hours, so let's do this quickly. And that leads into the next day, which was Pressure, which just revealed the stakes for the game. If you win, you get the crystal, and if you lose, you die. Then after that we got day 10, so we're already in a third of Inktober. Oh, this is difficult. And the word was pick, so I drew some kind of magical stick that the protagonist, which by the way has a name. I asked the person who drew it for a name, and he's called Mr. Johnson. Pretty original, I know. So Mr. Johnson has to pick up the stick for the game to start, and then there's something with a sour face, because the prompt was sour for the next day, and he's looking like, what are we playing exactly, because he hasn't explained what the game actually is. And then we come to the reveal of the next page, which These two are probably my favorite 2 pages from the whole Inktober. So let's take a look at it. Next day was Stuck, so I just wrote the game is called Stuck, and I showed the protagonist grabbing the stick. Then after that we got Roof, where some kind of arena magically appeared when he grabbed the stick, and then there's some text explaining like the rules are simple. And then we got Tick, so that's day 14, it's Tick, and I started this panel. And to do that I decided to go with some kind of countdown, so I started from 3, then 2, and then 1, and then after that I wanted to have my impact. And this is the only time in the whole series of drawings I made that I actually planned out what I was gonna do. I knew I wanted to have 2 close-up of eyes, then I needed a waiting panel, and then after that day 17 was collide as a team, so I could draw some sort of collision, like some sort of starting of the combat. So then for Tick, we already decided that, but then after that came Helmet, so I decided Mask, Helmet, it's kind of the same, so I just drew our spirit guy closed up with his eyes as well, still going through with the countdown, and of course explaining the rules, where it just stays, it basically comes to last man standing. If your opponent can't move or concedes, he loses, but everything is permitted. So then lastly we've got day 16, which was Compass. Again, a day I really had kind of struggled to come up with what to draw, but after I came up with this like target locked ID, I just wrote northeast, south, west around it and called it a day. And then we come to day 17, Collide, which is probably one of the best drawings I did before this Inktober, where we can see a protagonist, Mr. Johnson, swooshing down the stick onto our spirit guy. On to the next days, which is also the last 2 pages for this comic and for Inktober. Next from day 18 was Moon, so just to the moon, have some text explaining like we've been battling for quite a couple of hours now. Then we had Loop, so I just made sure to loop the rope and then made an impact sound. And then came probably the biggest stretch of this whole series, the whole day I struggled the most with, which was Fuzzy. I think, no, Sprout. It's Sprout. So I let the protagonist sprout a beard. Not my cleverest move, no, I know. Then after that came day 21, where the team was Fuzzy, so I made our antagonist, our spirit, Fuzzwade out of existence, and it starts at this panel and ends a couple of panels later, which also meant there wasn't like a really climactic ending to the fight. Just the spirit says, oh, my energy is depleted, I lose, which is weird, but also this is Inktober, so we got a sad sense of panels, and I didn't really, yeah. If I would draw this as a comic normally, I wouldn't do something like this. But I have to fit in with words, I have to make sure that the story ends in 31 days and 31 panels, so I decided to do it this way. And that, in hindsight, was a bad move because I've had a lot of other panels to fill and I didn't realize how many there are actually left. So after that, we got day 22, which is open, where we see the spirit opening the crystal container, putting the crystal inside and giving it to our protagonist. And then we'll get to day 23, which is leak, so the stuff is leaking some fluid, kind of dissolving everyone. And after that we got extinct, and now this is the end of our spirit character. He's extinct from the comic, he just died. And our agent, Agent Johnson, calls in that he defeated the spirit and also acquired the artifact. And after that we got day 25, which is Splat, so it starts raining. We've got some kind of robot voicing back from great work, good job Agent Johnson, Extraction is gonna pick you up. Then after that we got day 26, which is Connect, so you see your protagonist connecting the artifact to its belt so he wouldn't lose it. Then after that we got 27, which is Spark. So if and this is kind of where I'm starting more to end the story. So sometimes I use the word in a sentence more than in the image. So this is one of the only panels as well where I didn't actually draw anything, and we see the protagonist say that there was a spark of hope, but after a couple of whiles it soon turned to hell, because the next thing we see is a, I don't know why is it crispy? Why don't you hear this? Oh yeah, a vault exploded. So I thought about crispy, I thought about, well, that's fire. What's also fire? Explosion. So I just made up a vault that has exploded at the headquarters of their company, and Agent Johnson is quite shocked about this. And after that we can see that he is actually quite injured from the fight as well. That's day 29, which is patch, and we got day 30, which is I needed to end up the story. So 30, the word was slither. I really couldn't come up with anything that fit with the story, so I just put a snake in the corner and called it a day, and then let Agent Johnson pick up the mask. And then in the last panel, day 31, we see him actually wearing it, which is a great twist, which is the last word of Inktober. So I really tried to make this story fit with all the words that were given. It was difficult at times, but I think I did manage to do it quite decently. Now if I want to do this again, and I actually want to make this story quite a real thing, and actually quite a real comic, I have to rework a little bit, and I also don't know when I'm gonna do it and how I'm gonna do it. I'll keep you updated on that. But that is it for our Inktober review. Yeah, that's about it. What do I need to say at the end of these things? Let me think for a second. Oh yeah, first of all of these panels each day was published on my Instagram, and the final result as well, so make sure to check that out if you want to see more of my drawing stuff. Yeah, that's about it for this video, this review of my, I still don't know where to look. I need to look at that one. So that's about it for this Inktober review. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys, bye.